The galaxy believed humans were fragile. That belief died the moment a dying human made a choice no one else dared to make. On the shattered edge of the Orion expanse, deep inside a ruined listening outpost, Lieutenant Elias Cade lay against a cracked bulkhead, struggling to breathe. Every inhale felt like broken glass cutting into his lungs. The air smelled of burning metal and something sweet and wrong, alien toxin residue still drifting through the station's failed life support system. Outside the viewport, stars blinked calmly, uncaring, while enemy ships floated nearby like patient predators. The outpost was lost. Everyone knew it. The Krell Dominion had struck fast and without mercy. Their bioweapons were precise, cruel, and designed to erase resistance quietly. Human defenders had fought until their weapons overheated and their bodies failed. Now the station was silent, except for distant alarms and the slow ticking of structural collapse. Elias had been a soldier for 9 years. He had survived ambushes, boarding actions, and battles against enemies far stronger than humans had any right to face. But this was different. The toxin worked from the inside out, shutting organs down one by one while keeping the mind awake. The Krell liked their victims aware. Elias could no longer feel his legs. He knew he had minutes left. His rifle lay nearby, useless. His squad was gone. Command was silent. Humanity's supply routes through this sector would collapse once this outpost fell. The Krell would push deeper, confident once again that humans broke easily. Elias closed his eyes. Then he heard movement. Slow, uneven, heavy. His hand twitched toward his sidearm out of habit, but the weapon had been drained hours ago. He forced his eyes open as a tall figure emerged from the smoke-filled corridor. Pale skin. Black armor etched with ancient symbols. Long white hair stained dark with dried blood. Elias recognized the species immediately. A Narcta. The vampire-born. The Narcta were ancient, older than most empires. They fed on bioenergy, not flesh, and their blood was a living engine of regeneration and power. They rarely allied with anyone. That one had chosen to fight alongside humans was already unheard of. This one was dead. A massive wound split its chest open, armor torn apart. Beneath the damage, faint purple light still pulsed through veins that should have gone cold. The glow illuminated the dark corridor like trapped starlight. Elias stared. Every soldier knew the stories. Narcta blood could heal almost anything: radiation burns, cellular collapse, even death itself in some species. But it was lethal to humans. Their biology rejected it violently. Those who tried to use it didn't heal. They screamed until their bodies burned out. Elias coughed, blood filling his mouth. The toxin had reached his heart. He could stay where he was and die quietly. Or he dragged himself forward, inch by painful inch. Every movement sent fire through his nerves. But fear no longer mattered. Pride no longer mattered. Only choice mattered. It took him nearly 10 minutes to reach the fallen Narcta. By then, his vision was dimming. With shaking hands, Elias pulled his combat knife free. The blade vibrated as it cut into the alien's arm. The skin resisted like reinforced fiber, but finally split, and the glowing blood flowed. It was beautiful, terrifying, alive. Elias hesitated for half a second. Then he laughed weakly. "If I'm dying anyway," he whispered, "I might as well make it interesting." He tilted the arm above his mouth. The blood touched his tongue. Agony exploded through his body. It felt like swallowing lightning. Elias screamed as heat tore through his veins, burning away the toxin, burning away everything. His heart seized. His vision went white. Every nerve fired at once, then went silent. And then, his heart started again. Stronger. Faster. The pain vanished, replaced by a deep, powerful warmth. His lungs pulled in air without resistance. His spine tingled as sensation returned to his legs. His pulse settled into a slow, thunderous rhythm that felt wrong, and perfect. Elias gasped and sat up. The station's sounds rushed back into clarity. He could hear failing circuits behind walls, distant hull fractures, even heartbeats, unfamiliar, sharp, alien heartbeats moving through the station. Enemies. He stood. Not shakily. Not weakly. He stood like gravity itself had adjusted for him. His wounds were gone. His uniform was scorched, but his skin beneath it was flawless. His senses were sharper than ever before. He could smell fear. Taste energy in the air. The Krell boarding squad was close. Elias smiled. The first Krell soldier rounded the corner and froze. Its insectoid eyes widened as it raised its weapon. Elias crossed the distance between them faster than thought. The alien never fired. Elias's hand crushed through bioarmor and bone alike. He felt something release, a rush of warm energy flowing into him, filling an emptiness he hadn't known existed. He understood instinctively. This was how the Nocta fed. And somehow, so could he. More Krell rushed forward. Elias moved. Walls cracked. Weapons shattered. Bodies fell. Energy poured into him with every enemy that died. He wasn't losing himself, he was becoming more of himself. Faster. Smarter. Calmer. The Krell panicked. Their weapons screamed. Their radios filled with fear. No human can do this, one of them chittered. Elias stopped in front of the last survivor. This one can, he said. Minutes later, the station was silent again. Elias stood alone, surrounded by enemy dead, glowing faintly in the dark. He looked at his hands. Still human. Still himself. But something in the galaxy had shifted. Far away, ancient races would soon feel it. Humanity had crossed a line no one believed it could survive. And Elias Cade was just the beginning. The Krell Dominion did not panic easily. They had conquered dozens of species across 5 spiral arms. Their doctrine was simple: understand biology, exploit weakness, apply overwhelming force. Humans had been catalogued centuries ago: fragile, emotional, dangerously creative but physically inferior. That doctrine shattered less than an hour after Elias Cade stepped into space. From the bridge of the Krell warship VA Threx, Commander UL Zaka stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Red indicators bloomed and vanished across the screen as his ships reported catastrophic failures. One escort cruiser lost power entirely. Another vented atmosphere without warning. A third simply went silent. No missiles had been detected. No energy weapons registered. Only impact alerts, from outside the hull. That is impossible, UL Zaka clicked sharply. No species can survive vacuum unshielded. Sensors recalibrated again and again. The readings did not change. Something was moving between the ships. Fast. Elias drifted through the void like a living weapon. His body adapted instinctively, skin tightening, internal pressure balancing itself. The cold did not bite. Radiation felt distant, dull. He could sense the ships around him, their reactors pulsing like hearts. He landed against the hull of the nearest cruiser and dug his fingers in. The metal screamed. Krell engineers inside felt the vibration seconds before Elias tore through the outer plating. Alarms blared as atmosphere rushed out. Elias moved through the corridor like a storm, every step cracking deck plates. Krell soldiers fired wildly, their energy weapons carving glowing scars across his skin that healed almost instantly. Fear flooded the air. Elias felt it and fed on it. He tore through the ship's reactor chamber and ripped the core free. The vessel died quietly, drifting away like a gutted animal. Then he launched himself toward the next ship. On the human frontier world Arden 7, long-range sensors picked up the impossible. Human command staff watched in stunned silence as Krell vessels disappeared one by one, no friendly ships anywhere near them. "Replay that," Admiral Ren Holt said quietly. The footage showed a single figure, small against the vastness of space, tearing through a capital ship like paper. "A boarding pod," someone whispered. "No," Holt said. "That's a person." Across the galaxy, others were watching. In the crystalline halls of the Elder Synod, ancient beings who measured time in millennia gathered as warning sigils flared. These were races that had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations long before humanity discovered fire. The image froze mid-frame. A human. Glowing faintly purple. "That blood," one of the elders hissed. "That is Nocta blood." Impossible, another replied. Human biology cannot bind with it. Yet it has. Silence followed. For the first time in centuries, the Elder Synod felt uncertainty. Back on Arden 7, Elias collapsed the last Krell ship into scrap and drifted back toward the shattered outpost. His hunger was gone, replaced by a calm focus. He could feel limits now, not exhaustion, but balance. His body was learning. Human ships arrived minutes later, cautious, weapons charged. Elias stood on the broken hull of the station as docking clamps locked in place. Marines poured out, weapons raised, then froze. "Stand down," Admiral Holt's voice echoed over the comms. "That's our man." Elias turned. His eyes glowed faintly, but his expression was human, tired, determined, alive. Medical scans nearly broke the ship's computers. Doctors argued. Scientists whispered. No algorithm could classify him correctly. Elias Cade was biologically human, but layered with something else: adaptive structures, energy channels, regeneration patterns never recorded before. "Is he dangerous?" someone asked. Admiral Holt watched Elias through the observation window. "He's dangerous to our enemies," Holt said. "And that might be the most important thing humanity has right now." Elias spent days in isolation while human leadership debated. Some feared him. Others saw salvation. He said little, answering questions honestly but without drama. "I didn't become something else," he told them. "I became more." The galaxy reacted fast. The Krell Dominion withdrew from 3 sectors overnight. The Narcta went silent. Smaller species began sending messages to human space, cautious, hopeful, curious. And somewhere deep within ancient archives, forbidden protocols were awakened. On a hidden world older than human history, the Narcta Council gathered. Their kind had not been surprised easily in thousands of years. "A human has bonded with our blood," one elder said. "Not stolen it. Bonded. That should not be possible." Yet it is. Another elder leaned forward. "This changes everything. Humans adapt faster than any species we have ever observed. If one survived, others may follow." The room fell silent. "What if," someone whispered, "this is not a mistake?" Far away, Elias stood at a viewport watching the stars. He could feel the galaxy now, its tension, its curiosity, its fear. Humanity had been underestimated. Again. And this time, the galaxy would not recover so easily. The message arrived without warning. No encryption. No signature. No known language tag. Every human communication array across 3 sectors received it at the same moment. Screens flickered. Symbols formed themselves into readable text, reshaping for every species that saw them. Humanity must choose. On Arden 7, Admiral Ren Holt felt a chill crawl up his spine as the words burned into the command display. Around him, analysts froze. This was not Krell tech. Not Narcta either. This was older. "Source?" Holt asked. "No source," a technician replied, voice tight. "It's not coming from anywhere. It's already here." Elias Cade felt it too. The moment the message appeared, something inside him stirred, not hunger, not pain, but recognition. The alien blood in his veins reacted like a struck chord. He pressed a hand to the glass of the viewport as space seemed to bend, just slightly. "They're watching," he said quietly. "Who?" Holt asked. Elias didn't look away. "Everyone." The next transmission carried coordinates. A neutral zone beyond mapped space. The Elder Convergence. No species refused an Elder summons and survived history. Against the advice of half the fleet, humanity went. The human delegation arrived to find the impossible. A ring of colossal constructs floated in the void, each shaped differently. Crystalline spires, living stone, energy lattices that hummed with restrained power. Representatives of races long thought extinct or mythical waited in silence. And at the center of it all stood a single Narcta. Tall. Pale. Eyes like collapsed stars. Elias stepped forward before anyone could stop him. "I know you," the Narcta said, its voice echoing inside minds rather than ears. "You carry our blood." "I didn't steal it," Elias replied evenly. "One of yours died fighting beside us." The Nocta studied him for a long moment. "That is why you live." Murmurs rippled through the gathering. An elder form of pure light shifted closer. "Human," it said, "you represent a divergence event. Your species has always been adaptable, but its glow intensified. This crosses thresholds that destabilize balance." "Balance for who?" Holt asked sharply. "For everyone," the elder replied. "Including you." The truth came quickly, without ceremony. The Nocta blood did not simply heal Elias. It unlocked something dormant in human biology, latent adaptability buried deep by evolution. Humans were not strong like the Krell, nor ancient like the elders. They were flexible. Too flexible. "If replicated," the elder continued, "your species could surpass natural limits across multiple domains. War. Survival. Expansion." "That sounds like fear," Elias said. "It is caution," the Nocta replied. "We have seen what happens when one species evolves too fast." A projection filled the void, civilizations rising, burning, collapsing under their own power. "You want us to stop," Holt said. "We want containment," the elder answered. "One bearer only. No replication. No experimentation." Silence followed. Elias felt the weight settle on him. "They're asking you to stay alone," Holt said quietly. Elias nodded. "I won't," he said. The elders reacted instantly. Energy flared. Space itself seemed to tighten. "You risk annihilation," the light being warned. "No," Elias replied. "You risk losing relevance." He stepped forward. "You underestimated humans because we break," Elias continued. "But breaking is how we change. You call it instability. We call it survival." The Nocta tilted its head. "And if your kind becomes monsters?" Elias met its gaze. "Then we'll deal with that too. That's kind of our thing." The convergence dissolved into chaos. Some races withdrew in fear. Others watched with fascination. The elders retreated, issuing a final warning before vanishing. "This path has consequences." Back in human space, the consequences arrived within days. The Krell Dominion launched a full-scale invasion. Not raids. Not probes. Total war. Human worlds burned. Fleets clashed. But something was different now. Human tactics changed. Engineers adapted alien tech faster than anyone thought possible. Pilots flew like instincts had sharpened. Soldiers pushed past biological limits in moments of crisis, their bodies responding in ways doctors could not explain. Not like Elias. Not yet. But close. Elias led from the front. Not as a symbol, but as proof. He trained special units, not to copy him, but to understand themselves. To trust adaptation over fear. The galaxy watched in disbelief as humanity held the line. And then the Nocta returned. Not as enemies. As observers. "You are doing what we could not," their envoy admitted. "You are evolving without losing yourselves." Elias looked out over the stars, where human ships fought beside allies who once feared them. "We're not done," he said. The Nocta nodded slowly. "That is what frightens the ancient ones most." Somewhere beyond known space, something older than the elders stirred. Humanity had been noticed. And the next test would not be diplomatic. The first sign was silence. Across the outer rim, entire star systems went dark. No explosions. No distress calls. Just absence. Light vanished as if swallowed. Sensors reported impossible readings. Stars still there, but somehow muted. Human command did not need ancient wisdom to understand what that meant. Something was hunting at a scale no one had prepared for. Elias Cade felt it before the reports reached Arden 7. The alien blood inside him tightened, not with hunger, but with warning. It was the same instinct prey felt when a shadow passed overhead. "They're awake," he said quietly. Admiral Holt didn't ask who. How long do we have? Not long, Elias replied. And running won't help. The Narcta envoy confirmed humanity's fear. The beings responsible were older than the elders themselves, entities that existed before empires, before wars, before most stars had settled into stable orbits. They were called the Null Architects. They did not conquer. They corrected. Whenever a species evolved too quickly, bent reality too hard, or threatened long-term cosmic balance, the architects erased them. Not out of cruelty, but efficiency. Humanity had crossed the threshold. Why now? Holt demanded during the emergency council. Because you are not following predictable paths, the Narcta envoy answered. You adapt faster than probability allows. That makes you dangerous. Elias stood apart from the table, staring at the projection of the darkened systems. They're not here because of me, he said. I'm just the proof. Humanity mobilized everything. Fleets repositioned. Evacuation plans triggered. Scientists worked until they collapsed, searching for weaknesses in beings that ignored physics as a suggestion rather than a rule. Nothing worked. The first encounter happened near the red giant Tarsi's Prime. Human ships opened fire. The architects did not respond. Weapons passed through them as if through shadows. Then the ships vanished, not destroyed, not scattered. Removed. Elias watched the footage in silence. They're not alive the way we understand it, he said. They are processes. Then how do we fight a process? Someone asked. Elias closed his eyes. By becoming one. He requested something no human had ever volunteered for. Connection. Using salvaged Narcta technology and human neural interfaces, scientists attempted the impossible, linking Elias directly to the alien blood's deeper mechanisms. Not power. Understanding. The risk was total loss of self. If Elias failed, there would be nothing left of him to bury. As the procedure began, Elias thought of Earth. Of cities full of people who would never know his name. Of soldiers still fighting, engineers still building, children still dreaming. That was enough. His mind expanded. Time slowed. He could feel patterns beneath reality, flows of energy, causality threads, the cold logic of the Null Architects sweeping across space like a cleanup algorithm. They noticed him. For the first time, the architects paused. Elias stood within their perception, human consciousness blazing against infinite calculation. Error, they signaled. Elias responded with something they had never modeled. Defiance. He showed them humanity, not data, but experience. Struggle. Improvisation. Love. Failure. Recovery. The stubborn refusal to stop trying even when logic said stop. The architects hesitated. That hesitation saved billions. Human fleets struck again, not to destroy, but to distract. To buy time. To force uncertainty. The Narcta joined them. So did dozens of smaller races who realized something profound. If humanity fell, adaptability itself would be erased from the galaxy. The battle was chaos. Stars dimmed. Space warped. But Elias held the connection, pushing his will into a system that had never faced one. At the center of the storm, the architects recalculated. Humanity did not fit their equations. That made humanity necessary. The dark wave stopped. The architects withdrew, not defeated, but reconsidering. Elias collapsed. Doctors rushed him into containment, uncertain if he was alive or something else entirely. His vitals were unstable, fluctuating between human and unknown. Admiral Holt stood beside the chamber for hours. He didn't win, Holt said softly. No, the Narcta envoy replied. He proved survival can take forms even we did not foresee. The galaxy exhaled. For now. Elias Cade did not wake up to silence. He woke up to voices, soft, distant, arguing. Light pressed against his eyelids. Not harsh. Controlled. Familiar in a way that grounded him. He took a breath and felt air move cleanly into his lungs. Real air. Human air. When his eyes opened, he saw a ceiling. That alone felt like a miracle. Doctors froze the moment they noticed his movement. Monitors spiked. Alarms chirped, then quieted as systems recalibrated around him. "He's awake," someone whispered. Admiral Wren Holt arrived minutes later. He did not smile. He simply stood there, arms crossed, eyes tired, like a man who had carried too much responsibility for too long. "You scared the galaxy," Holt said. Elias tried to speak. His throat was dry, but his voice worked. "Still here, though." Holt nodded slowly. "Barely." The truth unfolded over the next days. The Null Architects had withdrawn beyond observable space. Not destroyed. Not defeated. Just paused. Humanity had forced something older than recorded history to reconsider its own logic. No empire had ever done that. The cost had been high. Entire systems lost. Fleets reduced to memory. But humanity still stood, and the galaxy had noticed. Elias was changed again. The connection had burned away some of the alien blood's hunger, stabilizing it. He no longer fed instinctively. He could still feel energy, sense life, adapt beyond human norms, but now it was controlled, balanced. Doctors could not replicate him. And that, oddly enough, made Elias smile. The elders returned. This time, they did not issue demands. They offered terms. Humanity would be recognized as a variable species, a rare classification reserved for civilizations capable of altering galactic outcomes without collapsing themselves. It came with responsibilities, oversight, consequences. Admiral Holt accepted without hesitation. "We've had consequences since we discovered fire," he said. "We'll manage." The Narcta chose a different path. They revealed themselves fully to humanity, not as masters or saviors, but as partners. They shared knowledge, carefully, slowly, teaching humans how to understand power without worshipping it. "You remind us of what we once were," the Narcta envoy told Elias privately. "Before fear made us cautious." Elias watched human and alien ships rebuilding together outside the station viewport. "We're still afraid," he said. "We just don't let it stop us." Months passed. Human worlds recovered. Trade routes reopened. Former enemies sent diplomats instead of warships. Not because humanity was the strongest, but because it was unpredictable in the most dangerous way. It adapted. Elias refused titles. Refused command. He trained others quietly, teaching resilience, problem-solving, and something no alien doctrine had ever formalized. Improvisation. When asked what humanity had become, Elias gave the same answer every time. "We're still human." On the edge of known space, a young cadet watched a training recording of Elias standing unarmed before an elder construct, refusing to back down. "Why didn't they destroy us?" the cadet asked. Her instructor paused the video. "Because humanity doesn't just survive," he said. "We change the rules by surviving differently every time." Far beyond the stars, the Null Architects observed in silence. Their calculations now included a new variable. Humanity. Not an error. Not a threat. But a possibility. And possibilities, once introduced, could never be erased. Elias Cade stood beneath an open sky on Earth months later, feeling real wind, real gravity, real life. He closed his eyes and listened to millions of heartbeats around him, not as food, not as energy, but as proof. Humanity was alive. Humanity was growing. And the galaxy would never be the same again. Because when humans stood on the brink of extinction, they didn't just survive. They became something the universe had never planned for.